Cool. So what I've done here is I'm giving you the 10 most common sales objections you're going to get as an in-person PT selling online coaching. And as much as the cheat sheet is great, I think for those of you that are more serious, spending the next sort of 9 minutes learning these word for word will be a lot more impactful for you, because there's also tone and body language and other things for you to consider. So the first one is, number one is, I need to think about it. One thing you're going to need to understand is a lot of people, especially if they know you as like Dan, the personal trainer, are going to be a bit skeptical when it comes to working with you as an online coach. Oh, I think I need someone to stand next to me, or who's going to get me to go to the gym on the days I don't want to go. Insert excuse, essentially. And what you firstly need to understand about I need to think about it is, typically that's a smokescreen for all the other objections. So it might be, I need to run it past my partner. I can't afford it. I'm not sure if now is the right time. I might have other options. So what you do is, when someone says, I need to think about it, instead of saying, yeah, take your time and let me know, you say, well, what specifically about this is concerning you? What's your biggest concern right now about working with me as an online coach? Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right now. Like, while you're here, what's kind of holding you back? What's stopping you? I know it feels awkward in the beginning, but it's just practice and repetition. But you've got to understand that when you start selling online coaching, a lot of your conversations will probably happen face to face, because you'll still be an in-person PT. If you're watching this video, you're probably an in-person PT who wants to move their business online. So instead of just saying, yeah, take your time, just say, what is your biggest concern right now? Let's talk about it. The alternative way of handling a objection, you can say, yeah, cool, take as long as you need. How about we just catch up like on Thursday or Friday? I'll give you a couple of days. And they're so shocked by that, because the norm is to either send them away with no follow-up, or kind of just make them feel like shit to kind of buy in the moment. And then if you appease them and give them what they want, like, yeah, sure, like give me some time to think about it, you can then lock in a call for, say, Friday, and just say, between now and Friday, just so I'm clear, what's the number one thing you're going to be thinking about? And then they'll typically say, I want to look at my finances, speak to my partner, insert one of the other objections we're about to cover. So I've given you two options for that one. But so we'll call that 1A and 1B. Number two is, I need to speak with my partner. So again, maybe online coaching is completely new to them. So this might be genuine sometimes, and sometimes it is. Sometimes people genuinely want to run it past their partner. The risk is that their partner isn't involved in the conversation. So the risk is that their partner doesn't have all the information they need to make a decision. So just as much as I can give you how to handle the objection, let me give you a way to kind of mitigate this happening in the first place. One way of doing that is, when you book in the consultation, whether that's face-to-face or on the phone, you just ask them, do you feel like your partner needs to be involved in this decision? If yes, let's book a time for when they're available. And if they're like, oh, I don't have a partner, then this one's out the window. If they say, I do have a partner and they do need to attend, then book it for when they can. And then if they join without them, then you can always reschedule and say, hey, I know it's important that your partner is involved. Shall we reschedule for the call for when they are? But let's say you get to the end of the call and they say their partner isn't needing to be involved, and then suddenly their partner is. You can say this. You can say, let's do this. And when you say the words, let's do this, you kind of take control of the situation. You say, let's do this. Pay now. And that's very commanding and authoritative. You say, pay now. And what you can do is, if you go back and tell your partner you've signed up to an online coach and they're really pissed off, hey, I just send you your money back. No stress. Really light and breezy. Like, no stress. No stress. I'll just send you your money back. No stress. Okay? So that's number two. Number three, it's too expensive. So something expensive is purely a matter of opinion. We know this, right? Expensive is an opinion. If somebody is like going to die, or they get this surgery, is it expensive if they spend £10,000 on surgery that could save their life, or is that a pretty good deal? Okay, so it's all relative. If I said to you that, hey, I'm selling a brand new Lamborghini for £10,000, you might think that's an absolute bargain. So it's all relative, right? But if they say to you, it's too expensive, instead of saying no problem or trying to justify your price or saying, yeah, if it's out your budget, no stress, you say, what do you mean? Okay, by asking the words, what do you mean? It forces people to articulate typically what they actually mean. Typically, when someone says it's too expensive, it means that they don't see the value. So they don't see the relative value. What that means is that, like I said to you in that previous example of like the Lamborghini, well, in that instance, you'd be like, that's a bargain. Maybe you don't have the money, or maybe you don't like Lamborghinis and you're crazy, but that might be a separate reason for not going ahead. But if you say to someone, what do you mean? And they say, oh, I just don't have that kind of money right now. This is your opportunity to go and challenge them on, is it that they don't see the value, and is it that they have the money, but they're just afraid of going ahead with the investment. Sometimes people will use a smoke screen and they'll say it's too expensive, when actually that's their kind of polite way of saying, if I'm honest, I just don't see the value. So the it's too expensive objection can be handled a couple of ways. One way is you say, what do you mean? And they say, oh, it's just too expensive. And you can say, well, you tell me, how important is it to you right now that you achieve your goal? And they say, it's really important. And you say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10 out of 10. Okay. So do you think that if it's a 10 out of 10 important, it makes more sense to invest in your health and fitness now? Or do you think it makes more sense to delay this? And they say, no, it definitely makes sense to do it now. And then you say, do you know how you said earlier? And this is where it's so important that when you are selling, you're doing your discovery and good discovery, and you're getting information about their lifestyle. For example, if someone spent the past hour pouring their heart out saying, I really need to do this, and they're spending loads of money on like takeaways and alcohol and lots of things that they won't be doing when they join the program, you can say, you know how you said earlier that you're spending £50 a weekend on takeaways right now? Is that the case? And they say, yes. You say, well, good news. The good news is that because you won't be spending £50 a week on takeaways, the program pays for itself. How does that feel? Oh, when you put it like that. And whenever the prospect says, when you put it like that, I promise you that means that you have opened up the opportunity to move back into closing the sale. Example, if they say, oh, when you put it like that, that makes a lot of sense. You can then say, where do you think we should go from here? Because that then makes them feel like you've put the power back into their hands, but actually you still have the power in your hands. So I would say, if you're spending £50 a weekend on takeaways, how about you put that £200 a month into your health and fitness? Or do you think it makes more sense to keep putting it into the junk food? Which makes more sense? And if you pose that logical argument to people, 9 out of 10 times they say, oh, it makes way more sense to invest in my health and fitness. And then you say, where do you think we should go from here? Number 4 is, I'm just shopping around at this time. Okay, what you're going to happen is, guys, is typically with personal training in the gym, you probably aren't used to having to deal with this objection. This is a lot more niche for the online space. So you maybe haven't had the reps in this one. So let me help you out. If someone is shopping around at this time, you need to find out, what do they need to hear right now to not need to shop around? So if you flip that and you turn that into a question, you literally say to people on the call, what specifically would you need to hear today in order for you to not feel like you need to shop around? And they might say, what do you mean? And you would explain, you'd say, well, what are you looking for? Like, what's missing? Is it the price? Is it the quality of the program? Like, what's important to you? Oh, it's the price. So are you saying that you're looking for a coach that's cheaper? Are you looking for a cheaper coach? Or does it make more sense to invest more money knowing that you're getting a premium coach? Which is better for you? They would say that it's a premium coach. And then you say, where do you think we should go from here? Like, what makes more sense? Going for a cheaper option? And typically when you pay cheap, you pay twice. or go for something that's maybe a little bit outside your budget, but you know you solve this problem once and for all, which makes more sense. Okay. Number 5, I need to check my finances. Okay. Most amateurs or newbies would kind of like completely wobble and lose their shit at this point. And this one's quite a ballsy move, but like it does work. So I'm just saying tread carefully, because you might want to practice this one with a friend. And side note, by the way, guys, I would be doing sales practice every single week as a personal trainer looking to grow their online business. The thing is, you're going to be great at training people in the gym, and you might know loads about nutrition, and you might be great with helping people as a coach. But if you're not doing regular sales practice at least once a week, you're leaving a lot of stuff to chance, and you're going to jump on calls with people, and then you don't want to be practicing sales live on a sales call. In the beginning, you should be practicing sales minimum at least once a week with someone else, minimum every single week, and ideally 2 to 3 times a week until you're closing at a higher percentage. But let's say that someone says, I need to check my finances. And this is where you have to focus on your tone and your energy and the way you come across, because the devil is in the detail and the way you say the words. You say, okay, you need to check your finances. That's cool. Do you have online banking? And they're like, yeah, I have online banking. And then very light and breezy kind of tone, relax. You say, cool, check now. Just have a quick look now. And they might say, what do you mean? You say, well, if you have online banking, why don't you have a quick look now? And if it fits your budget, then we can explore what that looks like. And if it doesn't, maybe we can come up with a customized payment plan. But check now. You see, the reason that most personal trainers, they don't say this is because, and not because they don't want to come across too salesy, because that's just the cop out that all personal trainers say, oh, I don't want to come across too salesy. No, you probably just don't have the courage to say the words. And I get it. It's scary. And sometimes it can be really awkward. But if you genuinely believe you can change someone's life, I'll speak for myself. I think it's worth saying something that is deemed as awkward if it means I can potentially change someone's life that is quite likely to get off the phone and just go about their day and eat shit and smoke and take drugs and stay up late, or I could just say some words that feel uncomfortable, and I could potentially not just change their life, I could save their life, I could add years onto their life. Number 6 is, I'm not sure if now is the right time for this, okay? So to mitigate this objection, and remember, guys, the best way to handle objections is to handle them earlier on. One of the best ways to mitigate this one would be saying to someone much earlier on the call, why is now the right time to hire an online coach? Because personal training probably hasn't worked for them. The reason why you are selling them online coaching is typically because they know personal training exists, but they feel like they need something new and different. So at the end of the call, and they say, I'm not sure if now is the right time, you need to make sure you have the ammunition from earlier in the call to say, you know how you said earlier that these are the reasons you want to hire an online coach right now? Has that changed in the past half an hour? They're like, no. So where do you think we should go from here? And then you go back into the close. Number 6, maybe. I never make a decision on the day. I need to sleep on it. This one is typically, again, a bit of a stall. So I would ask someone, how long have you been the type of person that has to sleep on it? And I typically make a joke as well, because I think I'm funny sometimes. I would say, did you know that most people say, I need to sleep on it? When actually the funniest thing about that is that you can't actually think in your sleep. So really, you're just going to think about it now. You're going to get off the call. The rest of your day will get in the way. You'll wake up tomorrow, and then the rest of your day will get in the way. And then suddenly you'll be back to having this decision again. So instead of thinking about it, the best way to make a decision is to talk about it. And nobody knows more about this program than me, and I'm right here. So let's talk about it now. What is your biggest concern about moving forwards today? Then they tell you the biggest concern, and then you would handle that. Number 8 is, can I split the payment? Whenever anyone asks you guys, can I split the payment? You have to say, why'd you ask? Sometimes people just ask for the sake of asking. Okay. Some people just literally say, can I split the payment? Before you jump to like yes or no, just ask them, why'd you ask? This might be because they're not serious and they're lazy and they know that they need like an out. Hey, can I just pay monthly just to see how it goes? Like, I don't want that. I want people that are committed. I'm happy if they want to split the payment logistically because they just don't have the money, but I don't want it to be based on commitment. I want committed clients. I'm sure you do too. So when they say, can I split the payment? You say, why'd you ask? And they might say, oh, I don't have that kind of money right now. And then you confirm that it is the program for them. And you say, do you feel like I can help you? They say, yes. You say, why do you think I can help you? And they tell you and they sell it back to you. And then you can come up with a customized payment plan. Number 9 is, do you offer any guarantees? So there's 2 ways you can go. Number 1 is no. You just say no and you stand your ground and say, how can I guarantee that you're going to do the work? I've only just met you. How do I know you're actually going to show up and do the work? And that usually kind of stumps people because it's true. It's like, we don't know. If I was to give you a guarantee, would you still give 100% to this program? Yes or no? And they say yes. You say, okay, cool. How about this? If you do the weekly check-ins, you log your food, you do the workouts, you follow all of the actions that I give you. If you don't lose the weight or get the goal, insert whatever the goal is, I'll give you a full refund. Is that fair enough? And they'll say, yep, that's fair enough. You say, cool. So shall we do it? And they would typically say yes or no. But at that point, if you've given a money back guarantee and they're still not willing to do it, then there might have been somewhere else in the sales conversation that you've missed a trick. Number 10, this is the big one, so pay attention. I don't have the time to commit to this right now, okay? When someone says, I don't have the time to commit to this right now, you then ask them the opposite. You tell me roughly how much time can you commit to this right now? And based on how many hours they give you, you can either say, good news, you do have the time because we only need this much time and you can do this much time. Or if it's genuinely sounds like not enough time, like, oh, I can only give 1 hour a week to this right now, and it's changed from what they said at the start of the call, then challenge them and say, you know how you said at the start of the call, you can give about 4 to 5 hours a week to this? What's changed? And then address it, okay? These are typically the 10 biggest objections you're going to get when selling online coaching to in-person people. And if you need to watch this training back 2 or 3 times and do some sales practice with someone else and join one of my upcoming free workshops or join FBC and like the other guys come and practice with us, then what you can do is you can shoot me a message on Instagram and you could just send me the words objections, send me the word objections in the DMs at Fitness Business Coaching. And we can book in a call or have a chat about your business and we can see if or how we could help you. We don't do the hard sales thing. We're not going to ask you to give us your card details 5 minutes into a phone call. We'll just have a quick chat in the DMs. And if you're a good fit, we'll grab a phone call and we'll take it from there. I hope you found this training useful. Message me the word objection or message me the word objections if you want to learn more about how I can help you. Or just message me if you want any other free trainings. We might have some other free resources for you. And I'll catch you on the next one.